Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Professor Stella Mchemwa once more greeting you and talking to you. Today my topic is mysteries and portents of Great Zimbabwe, our heritage. As my introduction, I want to say current systematic studies on ancient sacred sites have taken new twists and turns that are revealing intriguing results. In fact, Great Zimbabwe is one of these ancient sacred sites. This has been made possible by technological advancement in archaeology, for instance, remote sensing and sophisticated computers. What was believed to be the truth about Great Zimbabwe due to these studies has actually shifted in the sense of time. New insights and perspectives are surfacing, and new benefits of the monument are being realized. Enigmatic as it may be, there is overwhelming evidence to make one change the old belief about this monument. So the old belief is on who constructed Great Zimbabwe and maybe the time when the construction took place. That is the Great Zimbabwe complex that I'm talking about. We have the Hill complex and then the Valley complex. This photograph is showing clearly the Hill complex, and you can see how nature aided the constructors. If you can see this side with the cliffs and where the complex itself has been constructed, and if you can also look at how nature has been utilized there by the constructors. That is the valley enclosure at sunrise. You can see the beauty. Then maybe I need to tell you on the focus of my presentation. This presentation focuses on the geographical location of Great Zimbabwe in alignment to similar sacred sites in the continent. For instance, the pyramids of Giza, which are generally known as the pyramids of Egypt, and also its alignment or its relation to constellation. When we are talking of constellation, we are talking about the stars, the moon, the sun, and so on. So the focus is on Great Zimbabwe and its relation to these constellations. Then attention is posed on who could have constructed Great Zimbabwe. Remember, in my beginning, in my introduction, I said that what was once believed to be the truth about Great Zimbabwe has shifted. So this is why the attention is on who could have constructed Great Zimbabwe and what can we gain from the monument. Then I needed to tell you what prompted this study. I've realized that God has provided us with monuments like Great Zimbabwe. In fact, it's not God who created it, but whoever has created it has been inspired by God. So we have this as our heritage. It has been provided to us. However, such resources are not fully utilized by both the local people and humanity at large. This has resulted in nationals languishing in the midst of plenty. There is the resource which is underutilized, and we are languishing whilst it is there. So in other words, I'm saying there should be means that need to be found so that Great Zimbabwe and similar monuments can be fully utilized. So this presentation will answer the following questions. The first one is, how is Great Zimbabwe geographically located in relation to similar ancient sacred sites in the continent? Number 2, how is Great Zimbabwe astronomically aligned? Number 3, who could have constructed Great Zimbabwe? And number 4, which benefits can be realized at Great Zimbabwe? Then I need to tell you again how information for this presentation has been gathered. It has been gathered through document analysis, in fact, thorough document analysis on the issues at stake, including the related ancient sacred sites worldwide, especially those of Africa and Zimbabwe, and Great Zimbabwe itself. It has been thoroughly studied by the presenter, myself. Right? Then I can say there were some limitations in my study, but I tried to avoid them. The limitations were on the sophisticated equipment, which I could not actually have, but effort was done to compare sites, the site at stake, Great Zimbabwe, with the similar sites, and verify claims by related researchers. And I'm happy that some of the researchers used the sophisticated equipment to get their results. Right, then here are my answers to the questions that we have. The first one is, how is Great Zimbabwe geographically located in relation to similar ancient sacred sites in the continents? And then I found out that Great Zimbabwe is geographically positioned on a ley line at almost 31 degrees east at the same longitude to its sister stone monuments in the continent. So in other words, I'm now talking of a ley line which is slightly different from the longitude, but it also runs parallel to the longitude, right? So I'm saying this ley line runs along the longitude 31 east, and along it, this is where we have Great Pyramid of Giza and the Nabta Playa stone circles, and these two ancient sites are in Egypt. Then in the southern part, of Great Zimbabwe, this is where we have the Adam calendar, the stone calendar in South Africa. Right, that is the photograph for Adam's calendar in South Africa. And that is the photograph for Nabta Playa, stone cycle in Egypt. Then when we are now looking at the location, let me show you the real map of Africa showing these places that I've talked of. That is the continent of Africa. And then you have the first part. It's you can see where it is written Giza. That is the pyramids of Giza. And then soon below it, this is where we have the Nabta Playa, although it is not shown on this map. Then you're seeing the equator and then the Great Zimbabwe. Then below the Great Zimbabwe, this is where it is written Timbavati. The Adam's calendar, it's close to that Timbavati. I'm sure you're seeing the stars on the map. The line that I'm talking of, that is the ley line. It's actually at 31 degrees, 31.14 degrees east. Right, because I've brought another concept of ley lines. Here is a fuller map of the ley lines and the sacred sites of the world, right? And then at number 41, if you are focusing on Africa, there is number 41, which is showing Great Zimbabwe, while list number 1, if in Africa again, it's the Great Pyramid of Giza that I've been talked of. So in other words, while list we have the longitudes and the latitudes, those are the physical lines on the world, on our globe. But when we are now talking of the ley lines themselves, they are, if I can put it, they are sacred lines, energy lines of our continent, and they also run through Africa. And I'm saying Great Zimbabwe, Nabta Playa, Adam's calendar, the Pyramid of Giza are along one line, ley line, sacred line, which makes us rethink of this geographical location. Is it by coincidence, or do we have great minds that mapped and put these monuments in one line? And why in one line? Maybe the energy in that line is very high. Right? The study also revealed that the Great Zimbabwe the construction of Great Zimbabwe was done in meticulous alignments, exhibiting great skill and knowledge of advanced geometry of the constructors. So in fact, if you can look at it's just one part of the great enclosure that I've taken, and you can see the twin walls that are leading to the conical tower. If you can just take a look on the grounds, then on the sides, on the walls, and see how it has been done. Geometry, obviously, has been used. Otherwise, these constructions could have fallen long. Right, and then I said those the twin walls were leading to this conical tower. Look at the conical tower, and this is why I've said that we have meticulous calculations have been made when constructing Zimbabwe. Right, then how is Great Zimbabwe astronomically aligned? So in other words, this is another question that I originally told you about. So another finding exposes deep knowledge of astronomy. When we are looking at the constructors, they knew and they had information, reliable information on astronomy. Other researchers have confirmed this, and they argue that some 3 monoliths on the Great Enclosure align with the 3 stars in the Orion Belt. Remember, we have the Orion constellation and 3 stars in the Orion Belt. So, in fact, the 3 monoliths, I'll show them to you very soon, they align to the 3 stars of the Orion Belt. And this happens during the summer and winter solstice. So, in fact, this has been confirmed by Wadi in 2015. It has been confirmed by Beckerman 2021 and Gray 2022, among several researchers. Right. In fact, I'm just showing you here other monoliths that are there. You can see them on both the pictures, and the picture which is on your left is showing the monolith on the ground at Great Zimbabwe. These ones are showing as are forming a triangle, and then on my right hand side there are also monoliths. These ones are from India, Channel, India. The reason why I've put these 2 photographs adjacent to each other is to show you the similarities that are there. Then for those of Channel, stone E, it's labeled, and B are positioned in a straight line towards winter solstice sunset. So in other words, it's confirming the findings of Great Zimbabwe, that is the alignment of these monuments for these stone monoliths to constellation. Right. So in fact, when Wadi was talking about the alignment of the monoliths to constellation to the Orion Belt, he and other researchers were actually referring to the monolith on the eastern side of the Great Wall. Those that you can see, although it's not very clear which ones did he refer to, but those are the monoliths, and these ones, they are in a line. Right. So I've just put this part to show you the Orion Belt. This is the Orion Belt within the Orion constellation. Right? So those were the findings on that part. And then here are the benefits of Great Zimbabwe. Great Zimbabwe is our heritage, and the nation, as well as visitors, benefit in different ways. There are cultural benefits, and in order for us to fully realize the cultural benefits, we need to remove the political and religious lenses through which we view the sacred sites. Why am I saying this? There are racial polarities that we can have politically, and then we also have our religious orientations that prejudice us. Remember, Christianity is what it terms paganism, and then we also have some distortions that have been brought to the ancient religion by the current traditional religions. Get me right, I'm not saying that the traditional religion is bad. I'm not saying the Christian religion is bad, but I'm only talking of the clear lenses that we need to focus on when looking at Great Zimbabwe, so that we can benefit culturally. So in fact, what we can benefit from is relaxation. If you visit Great Zimbabwe, you can relax, and then wellness as well as healing and rejuvenation can be attained at Great Zimbabwe. So in fact, what is of great importance is to reverently visit these places and ask from God to get these benefits so that we are healed. And then you also need to realize that since I was saying that the alignment is mainly due to some times of the year, like the solstice. So in other words, it is even more beneficiary if we visit Great Zimbabwe during these important years. We have the summer solstice, we have the winter solstice, and we also have the equinoxes. These are the most important times that wellness and healing can be realized at Great Zimbabwe. In fact, these places are also good because they are free from pollution, thanks to the government of Zimbabwe and the national heritage programs that protects and see to it that Great Zimbabwe is well kept. There is also provision of ecosystem services and conservation benefits that we can have. Another benefit, it's an economic benefit where the country can have remunerations from tourists, local tourists, and international tourists. Other people are also employed at Great Zimbabwe itself, as guides and in the right. Then my conclusion says Great Zimbabwe was used as an astronomical observatory site by the ancients. So from the findings that I've told you about, the alignment to constellation, because of that, I've deduced that Great Zimbabwe was used in the past as an astronomical observatory site by those people. This mirrors their recognition of periodic increase of power of place energies. And this is why I've also told you to utilize those times to visit Great Zimbabwe. The knowledge of the celestial cycles that influences those energetic periods was also known to these ancient people. So we can see that these ancient people had knowledge that maybe today we have ignored. We are no longer focusing on that knowledge, maybe except for those who are in astronomy and astrology. You can see that they also put effort to attempt to predict those. So if the ancients managed to do that, why can't we do the same so that we can understand fully our heritage and we can benefit fully from our heritage? Then maybe my last question on who could have actually constructed Great Zimbabwe comes here. I'm saying now an ancient civilization that brought aliens from the star nations, probably the Pleiadians, the Syrians, the Arcturians, or other beings from the star nations came to earth and brought this civilization. And these same beings were responsible for the construction of Great Zimbabwe. So in other words, when they came to our planet, they were at that time, yes, visitors, but part of the beings of our earth, and they constructed Great Zimbabwe. This civilization could have occurred globally, either at the same time or at different times, but with the same knowledge, principles, and values. I've concentrated on the Pyramid of Giza. So in other words, I'm saying the same beings who constructed the Pyramid of Giza, Great Zimbabwe, Nabta, Playa, or in Britain, we have similar things. In fact, worldwide, we have similar features. In Ireland, we have the New Grange and the like. So in fact, these could be the same aliens, right, who constructed these things. And these same islands are the ones who also toured the world, putting the ley lines that I have shown you already, joining places, these sacred sites. They were joining them, and they were constructed along these energetic lines, sacred energy within the ley lines. So from my discussion above, my conclusion is, my recommendations: Great Zimbabwe should be treated with reverence and should be preserved in its pristine state in order for humanity to fully benefit from its potency. Then the education system should be enhanced by embracing archaeology, astronomy, and other related studies in the Zimbabwean school curriculum. Then there is need for related studies to be done in Zimbabwe. There is great need, and machinery, archaeological machinery, remote sensing, and other sophisticated systems should be used so that we truly understand our Great Zimbabwe, our heritage. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time. Remember to go to my YouTube channel and to like as well as subscribe. Once again, I thank you.